Hi everybody, it's Julie. Welcome to Hello Monday. Today I'm going to be replicating a card that I had created during the initial launch of the Essentials by Ellen Winter collection. This features the Bed of Roses die, which I absolutely love because it covers the whole card front. And I did want to talk a little bit about working with these types of dies, especially if they have some detail to them. Now, normally if I'm working with 80-pound weight cardstock, I would take a couple of clean unused dryer sheets and I'll fold them in half so they're nice and flat and stack them together so that I have 4 layers thick of that clean unused dryer sheet. And then I cut my paper a little bit larger than the die itself. And then when I sandwich everything together, I'm just going to use the normal standard die cutting sandwich on my Big Shot and send that through. And when I come back, you'll see that the dryer sheets actually enable me to eject the die without any effort at all. I don't have to use the pokey holes or a pokey tool to get that apart. And then I can go ahead and peel away. I'm just going to roll back that dryer sheet layer, and I can go ahead and lift up my intricate die layer, and you'll see that it is all intact. It's perfect, and all the waste gets stuck to those dryer sheets. So I don't have a big mess of waste all over my work surface, and I have my full sheet there all die cut and ready to use. So this is just a great way when you're working with 80-pound cardstock to help save you some time. Now I'm actually going to be doing this on watercolor paper. So I did cut my watercolor paper slightly larger than the die. And then instead of using the dryer sheet method, because this is much thicker paper, this is 140-pound watercolor paper by Canson, I'm going to use the Precision Base Plate by Sizzix. Now that's the front side. You want to flip it over and do all your cutting on that metal side. So I'm going to go ahead and position that, and then I'll put my pink Sizzix cutting pad on the top and then send it through my Big Shot. And so now I'm just going to go ahead and pop that paper out from the die. I'm using my piercing tool and the ejection holes there on the die to go ahead and pop that thing out, and then I'll pop out all the negative pieces. You could use the dryer sheet method if you wanted to, but the Precision Base Plate also does a really great job of getting a nice clean cut. I did roll it back and forth about 3 or 4 times just to make sure I was cutting through that thickness of the watercolor paper. And now to do my watercoloring, I'm going to use distress stains to cover this whole piece very quickly with variations of color. I put a piece of napkin underneath it, but then I found that it was just hindering me in this particular instance. So I pulled it aside and just went straight to the paper there on the craft sheet. And I'm using distress stains in the marigold, the ripe persimmon, and the abandoned coral because I love the variation of color. I never just want flat color on my watercolor pieces. I really like having this variation of color, and I'm just dabbing and swirling the color here. And I'll just go around the edges too to make sure I get all the edges there tinted. And I don't mind having a little bit of white space here and there. Sometimes my instinct is to go back in and fill the space, but I have to remind myself that white space is a good thing. So now that I'm done applying the stains, I wish I'd worn gloves because you know how I hate getting stuff on my hands. I'm gonna grab a paper plate and toss it on there. And I have a jar of clean water that I'm just gonna dip my fingertips into. So I'll clean my fingertips and I'll also add some spatters there to the panel. And that water, the droplets there are gonna react with the distress stains and kind of cause the color to lighten wherever those droplets fall. And that will give even more variation to the color. And then I'm going to take my heat tool and just speed things up because I don't want to sit and wait for it to air dry on its own. So as soon as I'm done with that, you'll see that the finished results look so pretty. It's just a really neat way and very quick way to add some watercolor effect to a piece like this, which covers the whole card front. So now the fun part begins. I decided instead of just using the whole panel as it was, to go ahead and trim away some of the flowers. And the whole inspiration for this was actually based on a bedspread for a child's bedroom that I had seen on, I think it was Kids Pottery Barn. And I just fell in love with this bedroom set, and I just thought it would make a really cool card design based on the pattern of this particular die. So I'm trimming this out just to kind of create a varied edge instead of just the whole full panel. Now I'm going to use the dryer sheet method to roll out multiples of this hello, this brushstroke hello, and you'll see that I can easily pop that die out and just move it down the paper and just keep rolling through repeatedly until I have multiples of that hello. It's a really fun brushstroke hello. I really love it because it's nice and fat brush strokes. And I'm just going to carefully peel away the piece that I don't really need. I could actually save it and use it for another project if I wanted to. But I just wanted to show you how my die cut shapes are going to stick to that dryer sheet. And now it's time to mount everything. And I'm just taking a piece of wood grain cardstock that I've folded into an A2 card. And then I'm going to use the spray adhesive method with my grungy tweezers here and apply some spray adhesive over in my spray box. And then I can go ahead and mount that. This is my favorite way to mount these delicate die cuts because it goes so fast. And then I'm going to take a piece of wax paper over the top just so I can burnish with my fingertips, make sure it's all pressed firmly into place onto the wood grain card because it has a texture to it. And I want to make sure that the die is not going to peel off or lift up in any areas. So I'm going to use the spray adhesive method again to mount all 3 layers, or no, maybe I think I cut 4 of these shapes together to create a nice thick chipboard style embellishment out of the hello brushstroke. And then I'm just going to use some adhesive here. This is the multi-medium in a matte finish, and I'm just putting some of that on the back, and I can grab it with my tweezers and go ahead and mount that in place. Now for mounting something this thick onto my card front, I find that the glue is going to work better. And then I'm going to put some wax paper over the top in case anything squidges out. And I'm taking some acrylic blocks. I'm just going to stack those on top and let those weight it down until it's completely dry. I have some sparkling clear sequins by Pretty Pink Posh that I absolutely love and I thought would set off this design. This whole card was inspired actually by a bed set that I had seen at Pottery Barn for Kids. And I just thought it was such a pretty bedroom set, and the die just kind of replicated that whole look. So that's what I was going for when I designed this card. It was all inspired by the bedroom set. I love how this card turned out, how fun it is to have that varied edge there along the bottom. All the supplies are available at ellenhutson.com, and we have more still shots available at the Classroom blog. Thanks for watching.